Today, we're in the courtroom of Judge Robert McBurney in the Superior Court of Fulton County, Georgia. The defendant is present at a hearing to revoke his probation. Judge McBurney previously sentenced the defendant to 15 years in prison, made him serve 3, then held the other 12 over his head. Right after being released from prison, the defendant seemingly went back to his old ways, including participating in an attempted robbery during which a man was shot twice. That victim testifies at this hearing. So do the police, who testify to the defendant's known gang affiliation, and who also bring dashcam and bodycam footage for show and tell.
We're going to get on the record in 22 SC 185558, that State versus Judin Chapman. Mr. Chapman is here in court with his lawyer, Ms. Paul. Mr. Hiles is here for the state, and we are working through a probation revocation. In this case, Mr. Chapman, you were sentenced, I sentenced you, to a term of 15 years to serve 3 with the balance on probation, so 12 years of probation, a whole bunch of special conditions of your probation. And in June of last year, I signed a probation warrant that alleged that you violated your probation by committing new crimes: aggravated assault, possession of a firearm, aggravated battery, and looks like possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The state also filed a petition to revoke your probation. I think it's premised on much of the same thing. It added that you allegedly violated the condition of not having contact with any known gang members or participating in gang activities, and it flagged that as well. Any one of those would be a violation of a special condition, and we need to work through the consequences. But of course, the state has the burden of proving by a preponderance that any of this happened at all. And when we met before, Ms. Paul indicated that she wanted an evidentiary hearing, I think because the state's offer was fairly significant. And so this wasn't something that was going to be resolved by a stipulation or anything like that. Ms. Paul, is that a fair summary of where we are?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
All right, Your Honor, the state calls Officer J from Fairview Police Department.
Okay.
Officer James Irvin, Jamesirvin.
All right, good morning, Officer Irvin. Can you please tell us where you're employed?
Fairview Police Department.
Okay, how long have you been employed there?
Approximately 6.5 years.
And were you working on June 13th of 2024?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what were you doing that day?
I was patrolling around as normal, just looking for, anything any normal stuff, crime suppression, stuff like that.
Okay.
Is there Fairburn is smaller than Atlanta, but are there zones that you patrol or special ops? All of Fairburn is your territory.
The whole city of Fairburn.
Okay.
Okay. And did you have a chance to encounter a Judin Chapman on that particular day?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what led to that encounter?
I was patrolling one of our zone nearest to Union City, and I located a vehicle that had been previously given out as a BOLO. Be on the lookout for inner autos, vehicle thefts. It was a black Tesla.
Okay.
Located that vehicle. When I got behind it, it fled.
Okay.
Or it immediately became reckless, and then I turned my blue lights on and it fled.
Okay.
I'm going to interrupt. The black Tesla you're talking about, the information you had is that it was a stolen car, or it was associated with the types of crimes you described as it carried the alleged perpetrators of those crimes?
Yes, it was used in multiple entering autos and vehicle thefts in East Point, which I confirmed with East Point prior to making contact with the vehicle.
Okay.
Okay.
And when you got behind the vehicle, did you turn on your blue lights?
Immediately, no. I just got behind him, behind the vehicle, and when I got behind it, it accelerated high rate of speed on the 138 and immediately got reckless. And at that point, I turned my blue lights and sirens on.
Okay. And as you so you did turn your blue lights and siren on as you pursued?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay. What speeds did the pursuit reach?
Over 100. I was going over 100, so speeds at least 100 mile an hour and a 55.
Okay, and it was a 55 mile an hour speed limit?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And during this time, did you have a dash camera?
Yes.
All right. And how long did the vehicle pursuit last?
It was fairly short. I'd say my rough guess, 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay.
That's just a rough guess. It was less than 5, but
All right. What ended the vehicle pursuit?
he wrecked into 2 vehicles and fled on foot.
Okay.
He hit a back of a semi truck and continued, and then hit a parked vehicle at the Aldi.
Okay.
That disabled the car.
Okay. Hitting the parked vehicle disabled the car?
Correct.
Okay. And did your
Aldi as in the grocery store?
Yes, sir.
And does your dash camera, did it capture the defendant exiting the
Yes.
vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And from which seat of the vehicle did he exit?
Driver's seat.
Okay. After the defendant exited the vehicle, what transpired?
I pursued him on foot, told him stop police, and located him down in the woods in a sewer
Okay.
within 10 minutes maybe.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the state would ask to tender State's Exhibit 1 into evidence.
Ms. Paul, any objection to the admission of States 1 for the purposes of this revocation proceeding?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay.
In or not a suspect.
Fast forward just a bit.
This fucking shit just happened?
I fast forwarded to the 1 minute mark. I'm going to pause at the 1 minute and 33 second mark on dash cam 1. Officer Irvin, will you take a look at your screen? Do you see the suspect vehicle in your screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's coming out of the apartments. Shannon Woods apartments.
Will you please indicate where the suspect vehicle is?
To the right, behind the tree by that sign that says Woods at Shannon Lakes.
Okay.
We're just seeing this is the black Tesla. This is the nose of the Tesla coming out of that intersection.
I'm about to 87 on the black Tesla. Florida side, Bravo 3, Sierra Charlie. From the vehicle that suspect from the point from the Parkway Road coming up on 138.
359.
And at this point, have you turned on your blue lights and sirens?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is the suspect vehicle directly in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what's the speed limit on this posted?
Five.
Okay.
Light traffic, speed 100. Passing every light traffic. 30 foot. Coming out of Parkway. We're coming from Augusta Road connection. Traffic, 7 miles an hour.
Okay. I'm going to go to the very end of the video at the 2 minute and 59 second mark. Do you see the vehicle do you see the vehicle that the car first collides with?
Yes, it hits the yellow trailer that it's about to hit right there.
Okay. Now I'm going to move to dash cam part 2.
So the video showed that you slowed way down when you got to that high traffic area. So you moved from woods to like a retail area or commercial district. It didn't seem like the other car slowed down. All of a sudden, then there was a big distance between the two of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I was just making sure I cleared the intersection without, hitting anybody or anything like that.
All right. Now, is this the exact continuation from where we left off on the last video? All right. And for the record, this is dash cam 2.
About 41 is windy.
I'm going to back it up. Can you point where the actual collision happens? All right. Are you able to tap the screen? And can you indicate on your monitor where the collision happens?
Yeah. So you mean go ahead and tap where it's gonna happen now?
Yeah, or circle it.
Okay, so it's gonna be right in this, you'll be able to see through the trees.
Okay.
You'll see the Tesla go up in the air a little bit.
Okay. Do you see any debris afterwards?
Yes.
Okay.
It's all on the road.
All right. Now you can delete that. I think if you hit continue.
41 is windy. They just struck the back of 18 wheel. They're continuing. 400, can you check on 18 wheel? Going to the Aldi parking lot. About to go far. Please stop!
Okay. What did you say when you got out of the car?
Police stop.
Okay. And did the Tesla actually run into that, the Jeep that's in the frame?
It actually did, yes.
Okay. And on that video, is that yourself pursuing the person that just ran out of the car?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna stop here at the 30-second mark.
And you're solo. You don't have a partner in your car.
Correct.
Okay. And how many occupants were in that black Tesla?
One.
All right. So it's going to be starting at 1 minute, 37 seconds.
Body push on. Please stop! Y'all get back to the nail salon, black male, white beater, dreads to the backside. He's running. Police, stop!
I'm gonna go ahead and pause it and fast forward. Approximately how long do you think that foot pursuit lasted though?
You talking about till he was in custody?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it could probably 10, 15 minutes, maybe.
Okay.
Um,
I'm gonna fast forward to the 15-20 mark. Sorry, I don't have as much control.
Why don't you just go from there?
I'm gonna keep it at 1446.
I'm about to see if you crawl down in here. Brother, you might as well come out. The dog coming. He gonna bite the shit out you. Get your motherfucking ass back here. We got the dog coming. Crawl backwards to me right now. Crawl backward. I'm telling you, crawl fucking backwards. Crawl backwards.
Come out, bro.
All right. Come on back.
I'm trying to hit right.
All right.
Now. Cause now there's snakes in there. It'll bite your ass. Yeah, my bad.
Come on back.
Y'all being too aggressive. Let's get y'all now.
Yo, come on.
Alright.
Come on back.
I'm unarmed.
All right, good. We ain't.
Alright, well, just make sure I don't get shot in there.
Well, you keep coming back like you are and you won't.
My hand is this way right here.
Perfect. Come on back.
Sir, keep coming. We're on our units together. You could turn around and just
I told him to crawl backwards. You can turn around and crawl back if you're going to act right. We got enough people
Turn
here.
around and let me see your, put your hands up. Put
There
your
you
hands
He
up.
said I'm at right.
Yeah.
I know.
right, come on
but I
back.
want to see your waist.
Yeah, we just.
Keep coming, keep coming. I
That's
can
on
see
my
you.
way.
Okay, come on.
I can see you.
What's up?
Come on.
What's up?
What's up?
The sky.
Sky. Your Tesla's rental bill.
Y'all don't gotta be aggressive.
You ain't got to run from the police.
Aggressive, bro? Did we do anything? No. Stop that BS.
You were going to get bit by the dog, though, for real, though. He was 1 minute away.
Appreciate it. Well, you real nice, boy.
Why?
You put my pants up.
Okay, I'm stopping at the body camera at the 1651 mark. Officer Irvin, were you able to identify the individual that was driving that Tesla and that you pursued on foot?
Yes,
And what was that individual's name?
Jaden Chapman.
Okay, do you see Jaden Chapman present in court today?
Yes, sir.
Will you please stand and identify him by article of clothing and where he is standing or sitting?
He's sitting right there beside his lawyer in a blue jumpsuit and like a white long sleeve undershirt.
All right, please let the record reflect that the witness has identified defendant Jaden Chapman.
He has.
Okay. I am going to fast forward a little bit more. All right.
I'm sure.
2538 timestamp on the body camera. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the Tesla as it lay?
Yes.
Okay. Now, after that car was that car inventoried?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were there any weapons recovered?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What kind of
Firearm was located in the passenger seat.
firearm in the passenger seat? Okay. Do you know what kind of firearm that was?
It was a like a AK pistol style.
Okay.
Um,
Do you need to refer to your report? Or you?
yeah, no, it was an AK pistol. Absolutely.
Okay.
Passenger seat. It did return not stolen at the time.
Okay. And was there any other occupants of that vehicle?
No.
All right. Your Honor.
You say in the passenger seat, meaning sitting on the passenger seat, or it was concealed in some way, or what do you remember?
Laying on the passenger seat, laid towards the floorboard, just
Okay.
laying in there.
All right. That's all the questions that I have for this witness.
Good morning, officer.
Good morning.
I am Attorney Dorothy. I just got married to Miss Thomas, but formerly Paul.
Oh, Ms. Thomas, congratulations.
Thank you.
Didn't know that.
I represent Mr. Chapman in this case. I just have a few follow-up questions
Yes,
for
ma'am.
you. I wanted to talk a little bit about your investigation related to the black Tesla.
Okay.
You testified that there was a bolo on the vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is it your understanding that that vehicle was involved in some type of criminal activity?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what was that criminal activity?
Auto theft or vehicle thefts and entering autos or thefts from vehicles.
Okay. And I'm just trying to understand what you mean by that. Was there someone in that vehicle that was that car was registered to somebody engaging in that act?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
So that vehicle was, it was a rental, like a personal rental, not like an enterprise rental.
Okay.
And it had recently been used in East Point in those type crimes.
Okay. During your investigation, do you know who was involved in those crimes?
I do not.
Okay.
All of my information was passed to East Point. I sent them my report and everything for them to investigate their crimes.
I understand. I guess after the incident, did you do any further investigation on that vehicle?
No, ma'am. I was just from previous familiar with who the owner is after everything was said and done. But other than that, no, I had no further into the auto theft part of it.
Okay. And regarding my client, I know you made an idea of him in court. Prior to this incident and this court appearance, have you ever seen my client?
Prior to this incident?
Yes.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you don't have any relationship with Mr. Chapman and you don't know him, is that
No, ma'am.
correct? Okay. After the arrest, did you have any conversations with Mr. Chapman?
Other than identifying himself, nothing pertaining to, I mean, we were together for a couple hours, so, you know, this and that, but nothing pertaining to the, anything with my report.
Okay, so you wasn't able to get a statement from him regarding the reason or what caused him to run following the,
Other than saying, you know, what'd you run for? You know, he said he was scared.
okay.
I mean, that was about all he gave for that, but, and I believe he said something about the fact that he had a learner's permit also instead of a regular license
Okay.
at some point.
Okay. During the after you arrested him, did he mention how he got hold of the vehicle?
Yes, I cannot say for sure, but he said that he got it from someone else. He did not rent it specifically. He told me he got it from somewhere else.
Okay.
I would venture to say a family member or a friend, but I don't exactly remember.
Okay. Do you know if he knew that the vehicle was stolen or involved in any of this criminal
I
activity?
do not know.
No, okay. I know you testified that in the front passenger seat, there was a gun found. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And there was nothing concealing the gun?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And at any time during your chase or after the foot chase, did you find, let me ask a better question, strike that. Did you find any weapons on his person?
No, ma'am.
No, okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Hiles, anything else for Officer Irvin?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, may he be excused?
You may.
Thank you, sir, for your time. Back to Fairburn.
Jaquan Humble for Chapman.
Okay. And now we're moving to, we'll call it incident one, whatever allegedly happened on the 12th.
Correct.
Okay.
My name is Daquan Humble, Dequan. My last name Humble, Humble.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Humble. How are you?
Good morning.
All right. Thanks for being here. I'm going to get straight to it. I'm going to take you back to June 12th of 2024. Do you remember that day?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you remember that day?
That's the day I got shot.
Okay. What was going on in the moments prior to you getting shot?
I just had got for work
Okay. And where did you work?
at Morehouse.
All right. What were you doing at Morehouse that day?
We was removing everybody out of the dorm rooms because it was around summertime. Everybody was leaving for the summer. So we was doing dorm turnovers.
Okay. So you were cleaning up, is it fair to say you were cleaning up the dorms and preparing them for the next round of students?
Yeah.
Okay. About what time did you get off?
Got off like 5 o'clock.
Okay. Do you recall where you went after you got off?
Yeah. As soon as I left, I went to the store.
Okay. Where's that store located?
It's like a corner or like a couple of blocks down from Morehouse.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 2. I'm going to approach. And before I approach, in preparation for this hearing, did you come to my office and review the surveillance video that pertains to the incident we're discussing today?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm approaching with State's Exhibit 2. I gotta steal your mic. Do you recognize the videos contained on State's Exhibit 2?
Yes, I do.
And are they a fair and accurate representation of the incidents that took place that day at 142 Joseph E. Lowry, both inside the store and outside the store?
I agree.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would move to admit State's Exhibit 2 into the record.
And 2 is a collection of surveillance videos, different cameras or different segments from this. Is it like a convenience store we're talking about?
Yes, it's the convenience store has 9 different cameras located both inside and outside of the convenience store.
Okay. Ms. Thomas, any objection to the admission of State's Exhibit 2 for this hearing?
Yes, I don't think he properly authenticated the video.
Okay. Do you want to ask the witness questions about that? I think he laid a sufficient foundation, but if you want to challenge that, I'm happy to let you ask questions right now.
Sure.
Okay.
On that video that you watch, do you know who took that video?
The surveillance cameras that was all around, from the stove, the streets.
Are you familiar with that surveillance camera?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so when you say it was accurate, you're going off based off your memory of what happened?
I'm going off of what I know that happened and going off of the videos.
Okay, do you have any way to know if it's been edited or sped up or any changes made to that video?
Me, I don't, ma'am.
So you don't have a way of knowing that video was been edited?
No, ma'am.
No further questions.
All right. I'm going to allow it in. There may be concerns that will go to the weight of the evidence, but I find that based on Mr. Humble's testimony that the videos fairly and accurately depict something he personally experienced. I'll admit State's Exhibit 2.
Okay. And same thing. I'm going to go off of, I've been asked to go off of the videos that have been uploaded to my computer. It is an exact copy of what has been.
That's fine. Ms. Thomas will let us know if it's not what she had.
She will.
Okay.
And I'm going to fast forward to the 4:47. The timestamp on the video camera. That's at the bottom right where it has the date 6/12/2024, saying that it is 4:47 and 26 seconds PM. Okay. And Mr. Humble, do you recognize this portion of the video? Okay. And do you see yourself on this video?
Yes.
All right, will you please tell the judge where you are located in this video?
I'm right there in the middle of the cross line.
Okay.
What are you carrying?
It's my lunch.
All right.
Well, it was my lunch. It was already gone.
Okay.
Okay. Is that what you took with you to work that day?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, what's going on at this point right here?
It was like, yo, something like that. It said something.
Who
You
said
good?
something?
I'm not exactly who. One of them from the car. Yo, you good? Something like that.
Will you tell the judge which car on the screen said something to
The
you?
blue Tesla right there, the one that's right down the corner when I turned around.
Okay. Okay. What is this individual saying to you?
I can't remember exactly, but we talking like, you good? He asked me a question. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. You good?
Okay.
What does he have in his hand?
It's it looked like a assault rifle.
Okay. Did he ever point that at you?
Not, yeah, he did.
Okay. All right. Did any of these two individuals ever demand any of your property?
Yeah, it was like, get my bag, which nothing was in there.
The
Okay.
white bag or the body bag strapped to you?
I'm not sure. I had multiple bags on me at that point in time, but I threw the bag down. I threw it on the ground. Though. I was like, you can take the bag, ain't nothing in there.
Okay. And were they making any references to any particular gangs?
Yeah, it was like on blood. Don't touch that, don't move, don't blood, get the bag, all that shit.
Okay. Now, can you see in the video where the other occupants were pointing and moving? What were the occupants of the vehicle saying?
Everybody was just repeating basically what everybody else was saying. Nah, get that shit, grab it, pick it up. It was just everybody was talking, just saying the same shit.
Okay, were all 4 occupants of the vehicle saying stuff of the same nature?
All of them was.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna let this play through. Now, what happened as the car pulled off?
I thought it was over. I thought they ain't get nothing, they ain't need nothing, they ain't want nothing. There wasn't nothing in the bag. I went in the store going about my business.
Okay, and as you walked into the store, what happened?
I turned around, about to go to the register, and I got shot.
Okay. I am going to.
Had you, I didn't see you drop your bags. Was there like a open doorway where you put your bags on the ground?
There's more footage of it, but.
So we'll see it on another video. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to another angle.
Do you know any of these guys?
I've never seen these dudes in my life.
Oh, sorry. And is this a view from the doorway inside the store, Mr. Humble?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Great. I have fast forwarded to the 4:47 and 33 seconds PM, and I'm just going to let it play through from there. Is that you in the doorway with the white bag?
Yes, that's me.
Why'd you fall?
I got shot.
Okay. How many times were you shot?
I got shot once in my back, and I got shot in my finger.
Okay. Now, at any point, have I ever asked you to identify all of the occupants in that vehicle?
No.
Okay. Do you think so you were never asked, correct? Or did you ever think you could?
If I was asked, I don't remember, but from my memory, I don't know if I can remember if I've actually been asked by you.
Okay, that's fine. All right. At one point in there, I'm just going to bring this up. It looked like you had what appeared to have potentially been a weapon. Was that an actual weapon?
No.
All right. What was in your hand?
Nothing was in my hand but my bag and my food.
Okay. Did you ever have what was described by police as a fake weapon?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. And why did you have that?
That wasn't the only thing that I had, but I got it from Morehouse, from dorm takeover.
Okay. And did they just tell y'all that you could take whatever was left?
Anything that we found, we could keep it.
Okay. Have you been able, this occurred on June 12th, 2024. Have you been able to return to work since?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
You had to say yes or no for the court reporter.
No.
Okay. Is it because of the physical injuries that you have received from being shot?
That played a big part in the healing process, then the mental process. Yeah.
Okay. And were you taken directly from the scene to Grady Hospital?
Yeah.
Okay. I have no further questions for this witness.
Ms. Thomas, do you have questions for Mr. Humble?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Humble.
Good morning.
My name is Dorothy Thomas. I represent Mr. Chapman in this case. I just have a few follow-up questions for you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You do not know my client, is that correct?
Nope.
Okay. And you've never seen him or had any conversations with him, correct?
Nope.
Okay. And you're saying nope, that is correct. You've
That's
never had
correct.
it.
That's accurate.
Okay. And is it a true statement that during the shooting, you were unable to identify any of the shooters?
During the shooting?
Yes.
That's inaccurate.
You are able to identify them?
Yeah.
Okay, you were just asked about the identities of the shooters.
He asked me would I have been able to identify the shooters.
Uh-huh.
I said I can't remember if he has asked me. If anyone else asked me, can I identify who shot me? Yes, I know who shot me.
Okay, and you're able to identify let me ask you this. Who was the person who shot you?
Whoever the dude was with the green hat on.
Do you know his name?
No, I don't.
Okay. What about the other guy that also had a gun? Are you able to identify him?
Not under his mask.
Okay, so you did not see his face?
No, I seen just the upper half.
Okay.
But that's enough.
Okay, so you don't know his name, is that correct?
No.
Okay, what about the driver of the vehicle? Were you able to see him during the
Yeah.
shooting?
He's sitting right here in front of me.
You was able to see the driver of the vehicle?
Yes, ma'am. Soon as he opened the door and started speaking and saying what he was saying.
When you say sitting right in front of you, meaning the person who was driving that blue Tesla is here in court now?
Yeah.
Okay.
If this is exhibit two. Let's go back. Let me see at what point you're saying you were able to see.
It's gonna be at the
Oops.
four, yeah, that's gonna be about the start of it.
So, Mr. Humble, I think I now better understand when you say I could identify these people, it would be, if you show me the guy, I'll be able to tell you it's the same guy, but I can't tell you that that's Fred Smith because they're strangers to me.
Exactly.
Got it.
So I'm trying to get to the point of the video. Cause it was at 4:46.
It's gonna be about 4:47:30 is where I generally start playing it, and then it'll ease.
And it's fine if you stop a little early, we can see an extra 10 seconds. That's fine. None of these is an hour-long video.
Okay, let's see, play. So this is you and this, are you able to see it on the screen? Does everybody see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this person in the green hat is not my client, is that correct?
No, it's not. The next person that walks up would not be your client either.
Okay.
Right there in all black, that's not your client either.
Okay. And at this point, are you able to see my client?
Not from this actual angle right here. Now I can.
So here you're saying that you looked over and you saw my client.
I could see your client from the time he whipped up on me at the corner and then turned to me. Once I was crossing the street.
And so you're watching these two men with guns and you're able to identify my client as the driver.
He turned in, popped the door right open in front of me. Start talking to them. How else can I not identify him? Just ask him.
And do you have any relationship with my client?
No, ma'am.
And prior to the shooting, have you had any conversations with my client?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and you've never met my client?
Never in my life.
And how did you learn about my client's involvement in this case?
It was all over the news, everywhere you turned, all over social media, and plus just watching.
So you was able to see his like photos and the news and different places?
Not him exactly. The one who shot me specifically.
Okay, what about my client?
Once the information started coming out, then that's when I was,
Was you ever provided a photograph of my client?
no, ma'am.
No?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Was you ever presented at a lineup to identify my client?
No, ma'am.
Okay, is today the first time you're seeing my client since the shooting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. No further questions.
Mr. Hiles, anything else for Mr. Humble?
Yes, will you please identify the person that you stated was driving the Tesla by where they're sitting in an article of clothing?
Yeah, he right there sitting next to his lawyer.
Okay. What's he wearing?
He got on a blue little jumpsuit, I guess from Fulton County. He got dreads in his head, light skin.
All right. Please let the record reflect that the defendant identified, I mean, the victim identified the defendant as the driver of the blue Tesla.
He has.
No further questions.
I have one last, and then Ms. Thomas, you may have follow-up. You mentioned that the person driving the Tesla, we saw in the video, he opens the passenger door and he's doing some talking. Your sense was that the driver was talking to Green Hat and the other guy, or was he saying something to you, like put your bag down?
He was talking to both of them.
Okay.
Like, at that point, he was like, come on, man, get in the car, get in the car, get the bag, get in the car.
Okay.
Like that.
Talking to them, not to you.
Yeah, not me.
All right, thank you. Ms. Thomas, do you have any other questions for Mr. Humble?
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Humble, thank you for your time.
All right. Investigator Ware, please tell the court where you are currently employed.
City of Atlanta Police Department, aggravated assault unit,
Okay. How long you been employed there?
2017,
Okay. How long you been in the ag assault unit?
about a year.
Okay. Are you post certified?
I am.
Have you been post certified the entirety of your employment with the Atlanta Police Department?
I have.
Okay. Were you working on June 12th of 2024?
I was working at City of Atlanta Police Department, aggravated assault unit. Yes, I was there that day.
Okay. Were you on duty?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a chance to respond to an aggravated assault at Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard?
Yes.
Okay. How are you notified on when to respond to certain locations?
How am I notified when to respond?
Yes.
We are typically notified by the initial report responding officer to a call for service. For my unit, it's usually like a call for a person shot, stabbed, or something of that nature.
Okay. And when you got to the scene, or did you respond to the scene that day?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Do you remember about what time you got to the scene?
I do not recall about what time we got to the scene. It would have been, I'm not sure, maybe within an hour of when it occurred. I'll
Okay.
have to go back and refer.
Okay. And based off being in your unit, are you normally the first responding officer to a particular scene like this?
I'm not the first responding officer.
Okay.
No.
All right. All right. What were you informed of when you first got on scene? Like, how did you start your investigation?
We were raised and notified about a person shot at the store at the location. Typically, when that happens and we know we're going to respond, we don't ask as many follow-up questions on the radio because I know I'm going out there. So we were just notified that the victim would be going to the hospital and that we would be coming out to the scene, try to get a name, date of birth, kind of a time frame and a general scenario.
Okay.
So we arrived at the scene, which was a convenience store, which when we got there, we were told there were shell casings on scene. The scene had been roped off. There was security footage. And so we started going through from there.
Okay. I'm going to refer to what is already been admitted as State's Exhibit 2. All right. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Is this, I mean, it's queued up to 4:47 and 34 seconds PM on June 12th of 2024. Is this the evidence recovered of the incident that you investigated?
Yes, that appears to be security footage from the incident location.
Okay, I'm gonna let it play through real quick. You mentioned that 2 shell casings were recovered. Where were those shell casings recovered?
So they were slightly off screen down below where this would have been, but on this between like the sidewalk on the street, right next to this location.
Is it fair to say they were just off camera as to where the car, blue Tesla, pulled off?
In the direction of travel of the vehicle.
Okay. And based on the surrounding cameras, were y'all able to get a plate identification from that blue Tesla?
Yes, even I believe by the time I'd arrived, officers at the location had found a plate off of the vehicle.
All right. And did you immediately track the exit route? You and the other investigating officers immediately tracked the exit route as to where those where that vehicle fled to?
Yeah. So in this, the initial responding officers had already begun doing that, and then we also do that as part of our investigation. So,
did you track that vehicle to any particular spot of interest directly in the minutes after this crime happened?
Yeah, it'd been followed on camera to a nearby liquor store.
Okay, where was the location of that liquor store?
At the intersection of James P. Brawley and Joseph E. Boone. I believe 775 Joseph E. Boone was the address.
Okay. And in course of preparation for this hearing and in your investigation, were you able to determine the distance between the incident location and this particular liquor store?
I believe it was 1.2 miles.
1.2 miles?
Yes.
Okay. And knowing that the car had stopped there, did you yourself go to that liquor store on Joseph E. Boone and retrieve video surveillance footage?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And noting that the car, the blue Tesla, had just exited the screen, can you please tell the court the timestamp on the bottom of the screen at which time the Tesla left the?
I actually cannot see it on my screen. It's blocked.
What does that say?
Content of this.
Oh, okay. Is it okay?
I did that.
Okay.
Great. It says that it is June 12th, 2024 at 4:48 p.m. and 22 seconds.
Okay. Okay. Do you recognize this video surveillance footage?
Yes.
Okay. And the blue Tesla of interest, do you see it on this particular screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And where is that blue Tesla located?
It is to the top of the screen, slightly to the right above the red truck. It is facing the camera.
Okay. And the screen that we're looking at, is this the parking lot of the liquor store that you said was 1.2 miles away from the scene?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
And looking at the timestamp on the video surveillance, is that approximately 4 minutes and change after the shooting incident occurred 1.2 miles away?
I can't see the timestamp again. Could you read it back for me, please?
It's on the top right screen this time.
There's a mini screen. I don't know if that moves.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yes. Yes.
So what will you recite the timestamp for us?
This is 4:52, 24 seconds p.m. on 6/12/24.
Okay, and were you able to confirm the correct timestamp by cross-referencing it to the Atlanta City traffic camera that's positioned directly outside this liquor store?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you were able to confirm that it's the correct time?
Yes, I believe there's a difference of maybe 2 seconds, but yes.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna hit play. Now, at this point here, did you and I review this surveillance together on VLC? VLC Media Player.
Yes.
And does VLC Media Player have a function called interactive zoom?
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 4. And is State's Exhibit 4 a fair and accurate screenshot of the utilization of the interactive zoom at the same image that's on your screen?
Yes, it is.
And were there any other alterations or deletions made to that particular image as it was zoomed in?
No.
Okay. Your Honor, the state would tender State's Exhibit 4, a zoomed in image from VLC of this particular screen.
Which is developed from this video.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Thomas, any objection to Exhibit 4?
No objection, Your Honor.
Submitted.
Your Honor, you're the trier of fact. I'm just going to go ahead and give this to you.
Thanks.
And the driver of this, actually, I'm going to let this play through. The person at the 4 p.m. 54 minutes and 50 seconds that exits the blue Tesla from the passenger side. Do you recognize that individual from the surveillance of the shooting?
Yes.
Okay. Were you able to identify that individual?
Yes.
All right. And what was that individual's name?
I believe that was Mr. Contavious Campbell.
Okay.
This is the gentleman with the green hat.
Correct.
Okay.
And I'm just going to stop it there. The driver of that Tesla, were you able to identify that individual?
Yes.
Okay. Who would the driver be?
Mr. Jaden Chapman.
Okay, what methods did you use to identify that individual?
So the vehicle was ultimately stopped by the Atlanta Police Department following a car chase. There were only 3 people in the vehicle, so who we were able to identify and interview. After speaking with our gangs unit, we determined that these people were had history of gang activity, and we were provided known associates of them, their social media and images of them. And when reviewing those images, we recognized Mr. Chapman from the security footage.
Okay, so are you saying you compared social media images of identified gang members to these surveillance videos, and that's how you were able to identify Mr. Chapman?
Correct.
Okay. Your Honor, at this point, the state's tendering State's Exhibit 5, which is the full Instagram return of defendant Chapman, as well as State's Exhibit 5A, which is the certificate of authenticity of domestic records and regularly conducted activity. Notice of this was provided and filed with the clerk on January 7th of 2025.
So it's basically what you were able to obtain from Instagram associated with what you believe is Mr. Chapman's Instagram account.
Right.
Okay.
So they're self-authenticating. So at this time, the state of tender State's Exhibit 5 and 5A into the record.
Okay. Ms. Thomas, any objection to 5 and 5A? They're admitted.
Okay. Can you see the screen in front of you?
Yes.
All right. This is State's Exhibit 5. And what is that a picture of?
It appears to be an AR pistol.
Okay. And does that pistol seem to be consistent with what you observed in the surveillance footage of what was sent?
Yes,
Okay. And are you familiar with the backseat of a Tesla?
I am.
Okay. How are you familiar with the backseat of a Tesla?
I own a Tesla.
Okay. Do you actually own the same model of Tesla that was used in this robbery?
Same year, I have the sedan. This was the SUV version, but they are very similar.
Okay. Is that consistent? The floorboard and the positioning of the seats consistent with being the floorboard and the seats of the Tesla that was used in this particular crime?
Yes.
And so this was approximately 12 minutes. This photo was sent approximately 12 minutes prior to the crime occurring, correct?
Right.
And it was sent by BT Dominus.
That is correct.
Okay. Do you recognize that individual?
Yes,
Okay. And is this the night prior to the crime?
correct.
Okay. And who's that individual that you recognize?
That's Mr. Jaden Chapman,
Okay. What type of car does he appear to be standing next to?
next to a blue and color Tesla Model Y.
Is that the same type of car that was used in the incident, the shooting
Yes,
on June 12th? And is that appear to be a photo from the same series of photos?
yes,
Okay. And do you see a hand in a rubber glove?
I do.
Based on your opinion, what do you think that the hand in the rubber glove is doing?
It is attempting to obscure the plate of the vehicle.
Okay. And who does this appear to be?
Mr. Jaden Chapman,
Okay. And what does he appear to be standing in front of?
a Tesla supercharger.
Now, do you recognize from anywhere the hat that he appears to be wearing?
Yes, I do.
Where do you recognize that hat from?
It appears to be the same hat worn by Mr. Davis Campbell during the shooting incident.
Now, do you see the person that you identified as Jaden Chapman when driving the blue Tesla? Do you see the hoodie that he's wearing?
Yes,
Okay. And turning your attention back to the picture of Mr. Chapman standing in front of the Tesla charging station, does it appear, do you recognize the hoodie from the two images?
yes, it appears to be the same.
Okay. And was it your testimony that you talked briefly about the pursuit of that vehicle? How many individuals were captured inside of or fleeing from that particular blue Tesla?
3. Well, 1 was captured fleeing from the vehicle. There
Okay.
were 3 in the vehicle during the chase.
Okay. Where did this occur? What city and county?
What's this?
I'm sorry. Where did the shooting, the aggravated assault and attempted armed robbery that you investigated, where did that occur?
Within the city of Atlanta, inside Fulton County.
Okay. Other questions for this witness?
Okay. Ms. Thomas, do you have questions for Detective Ware?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning, Detective.
Good morning, ma'am.
I'm Dorothy Thomas. I represent Mr. Chapman. I have a few questions for you. During your investigation, did you speak to the victim?
I do not recall speaking to the victim myself, no.
Okay. During your investigation, did you get an ID of Chapman at the scene of the alleged incident?
At the convenience store?
Yes.
No.
Okay. It's my understanding that Mr. Chapman was not found in the vehicle upon the stop that was subject of the incident. Is that correct?
When the Tesla fled and was ultimately, everyone inside of it was taken into custody, he was not among the three. Correct.
Okay. Okay. And the gun that was found in the vehicle, where was that found?
I believe it was the front passenger seat, if I
Okay.
recall correctly.
Okay.
So I want to better understand that. We've seen a black Tesla today. You weren't here for that. We've seen a blue Tesla. It's on the screen. When the blue Tesla was stopped, there were 3 occupants, none of whom was Mr. Chapman. There was also a gun in the blue Tesla, or you're referring to your knowledge that a gun was recovered from another Tesla?
The what appeared to be the same AR pistol was inside of the blue Tesla.
The blue Tesla.
The blue Tesla.
So the photograph that we saw when that gun was on the floorboard, what appeared to be the same gun was recovered from that same blue Tesla when Atlanta police stopped it sometime later without Mr. Chapman in it.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Regarding the blue Tesla, the vehicle, do you know who the vehicle was registered to?
I do not recall. I believe it was a rental of some sort, but I don't recall if that was from a company or from a specific individual.
Okay. Do you have any reason to believe that vehicle was registered or leased by Chapman?
Not registered to that I recall.
Okay. And I'm playing this video and I just wanted to ask a question during your investigation. There was a woman who entered the store that had red hair. Were you able to identify that woman?
No, I never spoke with her.
Okay, so she wasn't able to confirm or deny whether the person who handed her the money was Mr. Chapman, is that correct?
No, as far as I know.
Okay. And just to be clear, the way you were able to connect Mr. Chapman to the subject incident that occurred at the convenience store was by pulling the social media posts online of the known shooters and realizing that Chapman was, he was identified as being amongst the shooters. Is that correct?
The way that it occurred is once we were aware that the 3 individuals we had in custody had prior gang charges, our gangs unit reached out to the agency that filed those charges with who we had in custody. They provided a list of known associates, and then our gangs unit pulled their social media profiles and we compared it to the footage.
Okay, and I guess I'm trying to trying to get at, the way you identify Mr. Chapman was through his affiliation with his co-defendants on this case. Is that correct?
So once we pulled the social media and we looked for images consistent with who was in the vehicle, it was both his physical appearance and the clothing items that he was wearing that were also seen in the footage, but not recovered.
Okay, so you was never able to find the hoodie that Mr. Chapman was allegedly wearing in the vehicle, is that correct?
The hooded sweatshirt that he is seen wearing here and the green hat with the letter A that Mr. Campbell had been seen wearing were not recovered from the vehicle or on anyone's person when
Okay,
they were taken into custody.
okay. And you never spoke to Mr. Chapman?
No.
Okay, so you don't know if he owned that sweatshirt, if he was wearing that sweatshirt, or any further information regarding that sweatshirt, correct?
Just that he was wearing it.
What do you mean?
I mean, whether or not he owned it, he could have borrowed it from someone, but based on the footage in his social media profile, I saw that he was wearing the sweatshirt.
And you're talking about prior or before the incident?
The pictures on his social media profile were taken before the incident, and
Okay.
the security footage was taken after the incident.
Okay, so you're referring to both incidents. You're saying that you, okay, I understand. During your investigation, did you get to speak with any of the co-defendants?
I spoke with or attempted to speak with all three of the other defendants, yes.
Okay, did any of them speak with you?
Yes,
Okay, did anyone identify Mr. Chapman as the driver of the blue Tesla?
not that I recall.
Okay. And following the stop of the blue Tesla, my understanding is Mr. Chapman was not in the vehicle, but he was later apprehended. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Was he found with, I guess at the time that he was apprehended, was he wearing the sweatshirt?
I was not present for the incident, nor have I reviewed any footage of that incident, so I do not know.
So you do not know, okay.
Well, I'll let you know he was not. He was wearing a tank top. No hoodie.
And just real quick about the green hat, where was you able to locate the green hat? Was it still on that defendant's person when you stopped him?
Mr. Campbell did not have the hat, and it was not recovered from the vehicle.
Okay, no further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Hiles, any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Investigator Ware, thank you for your time.
We got one witness.
For what? I'm wondering, given your burden of proof in this, what this last witness, give me a summary of what that witness would be talking about.
This gang investigator identifying each of the other individuals as they were in the car as members of 5275 Slime Gang Young Crew. As one of the allegations of special conditions that he was in contact with.
Okay, I'm not gonna tell you how to prove up your case, but given the various allegations across the two petitions and in the warrant I signed, I don't think you need to present anything else.
State rest.
Okay. Ms. Thomas, do you want to put on any evidence?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, then we'll close the evidence in this case. Is there anything beyond the record you've established that you want to share with me at this point, Mr. Hiles?
Your Honor, all I want to share is I feel that we have proved the allegations in the petition to revoke probation beyond a reasonable doubt, well past the preponderance of the evidence standard. And I'm going to ask that you revoke the balance of Mr. Chapman's probation. So he pled to 9 different gang counts, aggravated battery, from which he shot somebody. And that particular victim actually, started getting cold, wanted to show mercy to Mr. Chapman.
You're referring to the underlying charges, not Mr. Humble.
I'm not, no, not,
Right.
not Mr. Humble. I'm referring to what he's on probation for what we're asking.
Okay.
And it was a series of not only entering on it, but assault, battery he pled guilty to. And he is continuously out here continuing the same activity with the same members of the same gang that he pled guilty to committing these crimes with, putting the public's life in danger, not only by armed robberies and shooting at individuals, for which I think there's more than enough for party to a crime, for that, but also fleeing at speeds of over 100 miles an hour, crashing into citizens and continuing to flee, and then crashing into another citizen is a danger. And 11 years is the only justifiable sentence at this point. He's been given every chance under the sun. And that's what we're asking for.
Okay. Are you able to move the board now? Thanks. I'll hear from you, Ms. Thomas, in just a second. I need to ask Ms. Simpson how much time remains on Mr. Chapman's. There you are. Hey, how much time remains in this case?
He has 2 years, 6 months, 4 days remaining.
Years, 6 months, 4 days. Okay, thank you. Ms. Thomas, I'm happy to hear from you on both whether the state met its burden, but also what you think a reasonable consequence would be. Probably advisable to spend more on the reasonable consequence than whether the state met its burden, because the burden is not so high here, as you know. And as I explained to Mr. Chapman before, it's a preponderance of the evidence. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. And you've heard the same evidence I did today. I don't know what would happen at trial, but that's not what we're doing today. So I'm ready to hear from you.
Right, Your Honor. I will start by saying that Mr. Chapman is here because he allegedly violated his probation by committing the new charges. And we all heard the evidence. And to your point, I won't spend too much time on that point. But Mr. Chapman is 24 years old, and the state is wanting to revoke the full balance of his remaining probation. Your Honor, I will state, however, that in the new charges that he's alleged to commit, he is not a main participant in the violence. He's not carrying a gun. He's not the one who shot at the alleged victim. He is not participating to any mass degree in these crimes. And I know part of the charges is related to him being affiliated with this gang member, but as the court knows, and not to make an excuse for him, but it is difficult for, he's 24 years old. It's difficult for him to associate and be found with around other people and to leave the gang because essentially he poses himself, he puts himself in a position to be targeted and be endangered and could potentially lose his life. And I'm not saying that to say and make an excuse for him and his involvement in these crimes, but I think if we talk about culpability and who is the aggravator in these crimes, you see in all these cases that he is not. The one that I would say he's probably the most culpable is when he fled and eluded the police. But even then, you saw it was a uneventful arrest. Yes, they caught him, they chased him. I'm not diminishing that. But we don't see someone displaying active violence. We don't see him carrying a gun. We don't see him threatening anyone. So because of that, I do believe that revoking the full balance of his probation is not just. He is 24 years old. He has a whole life in front of him. And in the interest of just being transparent, I know he's probably going to have to do some time for sure for his new cases. And the two cases that he did pick up are serious in nature. So I'm not going to even argue that he should do just probation. I just think that revoking the full balance does not allow him to be rehabilitated. And I do think he is somebody that could be rehabilitated. I think that being able to be in some type of structured environment would be beneficial for him. Again, he is 24 years old. His father is present in the courtroom today to show up for support. His grandmother has reached out to me. I know that one of the bigger conversations I've had with his family is leaning into helping Chapman establish a life outside of the gang and being able to reform himself. But unfortunately, he has not been presented with the tools to do so. So one of the biggest factors he's had is being able to to get a job. He feels like he can't get a job and that he's stuck in this circle with these known gang members. Again, I would just ask the court to show some degree of leniency in sentencing him. He is 24 years old. I think a better tool would be to revoke maybe 2-3 years. He's been in custody for quite some time. And then add some additional conditions to his probation that would encourage him to get on the right track, gain employment, get a GED, stay out of Fulton County. And these are provisions that he could potentially meet. Again, his father is present. I just want to address him in the court. So he would be able to help guide him and steer him in the right direction, help with employment. I do believe, I know he was previously on probation, and you're probably asking me, okay, Dorothy, he was just on probation and he still committed these crimes. Again, I would just urge the court to understand that, I mean, it's so recent that he got out. The new charge, I mean, he just hasn't been out long enough to be able to redirect his actions. And again, him being young without resources, change is not going to happen as rapidly as it would for someone with a lot of resource. So I would just urge the court to consider these factors and not revoke the full balance. 12 years is a lot. I mean, if he got out half of his life, I mean, what middle age now is 35, 36. So, I mean, half of his life would be spent in prison. And I know he does have some support and that can help rear him in the right direction, Your Honor. So we just ask that you show my client some mercy and add some extra provisions on there to help guide him, or if you could even connect him with some resources, I think that would be more beneficial, so we're not creating more havoc on the system and to the general public.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I think you had an ample opportunity to share your perspective on things. And I think I understand the state's perspective on this. I have two parts to what I need to do. The first is that I do find, Mr. Chapman, that the state has proven by a preponderance of the evidence that you violated the terms and conditions of your probation, primarily by violating the law in a number of ways, both incidents, the shooting of Mr. Humble, and I get it that you didn't shoot Mr. Humble. I don't think that's the point here, but that incident where Mr. Humble had guns pointed at him, threats to take his property, and he ultimately was shot. You were part and parcel of that situation. We fast forward just a day, and there's the high-speed chase where you are found alone in a different Tesla with a gun, and any number of folks could have been injured in that situation. So I find that you violated your probation. I also find that you were, again, associating with members of a gang, and you were aware that they were members of a gang. That's to me troubling, but less concerning than how quickly you were back in the racket of breaking the law and making life scary and difficult for lots of folks. So I do find you violated your probation. Then I need to figure out what I'm going to do about it. And I've heard from the state as to what I ought to do. And I've heard very eloquently from Ms. Thomas. Want to make sure if there's anything you want me to hear from you directly, you can speak your piece now before I let you know what I'm going to do.
Sorry, I heard everything Ms. Paul said, and
I did too. And I'm going to now hear from Mr. Chapman if there's anything he wants to say. You don't have to say anything at all. You're not on the spot. I just don't want to prevent you from saying something if you want to be heard. Whatever's easier for you. Don't bother me.
I understand I made mistakes.
This is all. You can just speak, just project.
I understand I made mistakes. I was asking for like the next level program, my conditions at that time. That's what I just wanted to say.
Okay. The next level program, I'm familiar with that.
Program better in the community.
You're 24? Okay. All right. So, Mr. Chapman, as I said, I do find that the state has proven by a preponderance of the evidence that you violated significant conditions of your probation, and they were both special conditions and violations of the law, which empowers me to revoke more than 2 years. I think that Ms. Thomas very effectively argued for the concept of leniency and to give you opportunities. The problem for you is that you already had that. Ms. Thomas wasn't involved with the case before, it was a different lawyer, but Mr. Hood negotiated for you a very lenient outcome to a series of similar situations and you were given that second chance, I'm not so sure about third chances without a pretty stiff rehabilitation period in between. There are a whole lot of what ifs here that are keeping you away from a much more serious sentence. What if the shot into Mr. Humble had killed him instead of left him frightened and injured and recovering, not just physically, but emotionally? What if your high-speed chase had resulted in an accident where you were hurt or a pedestrian was killed? You put a whole bunch of other people in harm's way, either directly with the Fairburn situation or as a part of that rolling crime scene in the blue Tesla. And none of that is consistent with you demonstrating to me, or more importantly, the community in which you operate, that you had taken any steps to lead a life that was different from the one that got you in front of me the first time, which was all those entering autos and shootings, et cetera. I mean, you just rolled right back into it. And so I don't have a good basis to be confident that Next Level Boys Academy or At Promise or Dad being here would keep everyone safe. So I am going to revoke 10 years of your probation. We'll reinstate the balance so that when you are released, there will be a little bit of probation. And pardons and paroles will figure out if any part of that is parolable. You have a different lawyer for your two cases in front of Judge Whitaker, but they arise from these same set of facts and circumstances. And I am confident that this revocation will feed into a fairly quick resolution of those two cases. Ms. Thomas, I appreciate you parachuting into this case. I know you've been involved with it for a while over the course of a name change, but you've done important work on behalf of Mr. Chapman. You didn't have a lot to work with given the video evidence and the speed with which Mr. Chapman re-engaged with this lifestyle that's dangerous to him, which concerns me, but even more so demonstrated dangerous to people like Mr. Humble and all those people who were just minding their own business on those busy roads in downtown Fairburn. So that is how we are resolving this. Mr. Hiles, thank you for your time as well. Yes, Mr. Chapman, you will get credit for all the time. You'll get credit for all the time he's been in custody. It's related to these very allegations. Okay.
Judge McBurney sentenced the defendant to rot in prison for 11 years. He wisely left 1 year on the back end held over his head, but Judge McBurney also knows that the new crimes with which the defendant is charged carry prison terms of 20 years or more, and it sure looks like the defendant is guilty as hell. With any luck, he'll sit in the can for 20 more after his initial 11-year stretch is done. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy watching this content, please like and subscribe. It helps new channels like this one gain exposure. There is a lot more Good Court to come, so if you like what you saw, tell your friends. If you didn't, tell me and let me know what you'd like to see and how I can improve. Thanks.